Trophy. It's an AFC Championship win and a Super Bowl appearance. It's another AFC Championship appearance, but there have been injuries that have kept you from being able to do that consistently. Just from a mental, emotional, physical standpoint, how difficult has it been to deal with some of those injuries that's taking you away from the field?
Yeah, it's hard because, I mean, you guys know all the work that goes into going out there and playing really well and playing to the level that you expect yourself to play, and then when it's taken from you,
so Labor,
always
what you been on?
Difficult thing to go through mentally and physically. Fortunately, physically this one wasn't quite as bad. Mentally it was worse because you feel good, but you can't do what you need to do on the field. So I was able to continue to do my training, running, lifting. So that was
good, bro.
Easier than my knee, but mentally it was tough.
Everybody talks about your consistency, your accuracy, like what you have as a quarterback. Those natural abilities or proven abilities are there, but it's like you're saying, it's wrist, it's knee, it's this, it's that. The preparation of being ready to be out there, because if you're out there, I'll kiss your ass a little bit. You'll be balling. Yeah. So what, moving forward, knowing it's not just
Ain't none, man. I got to open, bro.
inside.
I got inventory tomorrow, bro. Not trying to do that shit.
But just getting ready, like mentally saying, I just have to be ready. If I'm healthy, I'm winning national championships, I'm going to the playoffs, I'm winning playoff games.
Yeah, I think this offseason I've kind of taken a step back and made sure I gave my body a little more time than in the past. I would say in the past, if something was nagging, I was like, oh, I can push through that. I can go get my workout in. No big deal. And usually it was no big deal, but sometimes it became a big deal. So I definitely took some more time off this offseason as compared to in the past.
With the injuries and that part being frustrating for you, I think you've shown great leadership in just being present. Even down in Jacksonville when you guys came down there a year ago, you banged up, you injured, knowing you weren't going to play. You could have easily stayed behind. But your presence and just being there helping the other guys, prep and showing that sort of leadership away from the field. How important is that to be able to do that sense?
Yeah, that's part of the job of being the quarterback, head of the franchise, whatever you want to call it. Whether you're out there or not, I think you have to be present and make sure that the team can continue to succeed without you. And also that was more so for me, still being around the guys, still acting like I was involved, trying to help Jake any way that I could. He does a great job for me on game day, pointing things out, so I just tried to do the same thing for him and help facilitate his success. And he did a great job. That was fun to watch. It's just fun being around football. That's being home watching it is not as fun, I'm sure, as you guys know.
Yeah, right.
Just being around the guys means a lot.
What is a Snickers salad? When you're playing, I guess you can't eat Snickers salad as much as you can if you're rehabbing. And
That's something my mom makes.
What goes into Snickers salad?
Cool Whip, vanilla pudding, apples, and Snickers.
What do the apples do in the Snickers salad?
Add some sweetness. Some freshness. I'll get my mom to make some.
I want to try that.
You ever freeze the Snickers?
No, I've never done that.
Never eaten a frozen Snicker bar? That's the best.
That's yours, huh?
It's the best. Okay. So I'll try the Snicker salad if you try the frozen Snicker.
All right, that's a good.
But be careful. Don't chew with the front teeth.
I was gonna say that sounds a little hard.
Go quick.
The step back for a guy. If we look at the destination, the Heisman Trophy, the number 1 overall pick, the success in the league, the contract, it seems that it's sort of been a destined route for you to be a star, but it wasn't always that for you, even having to transfer from O State to LSU. And I was there that first year. It wasn't this high level of success, so you become a grinder, a worker. How difficult is it to take a step back and think, I need to preserve my body for availability when I'm used to those reps being so important?
Yeah, it's been difficult. It's a great way to put it. All I had was that grind for, it felt like so long. It was, 3 years, 4 years. That was all I had. I wasn't playing on the field, so my, growth as a player wasn't shown anywhere but practice. And so all I had was working out in the weight room, running, get my body the way that I wanted it. And so I got really good at that. And then continued that and continued to get better and better and better. And then at some point there's some diminishing returns on the back end of that. And so that's kind of what I realized this offseason was if my body's telling me, hey, you need a day, I'm going to take that day. Or I'm going to take a little longer weekend. Or I'm going to go on a little trip and get my body right. Or I'm going to take it a little easier today. I'm not going to squat heavy today. I'm going to go a little lighter in the weight room. So that's been, you grow and evolve every year, and that's kind of been my growth this year.
Was part of that growth wearing your whole back out in the fashion show?
You like that?
Oh,
Dude,
what?
What was the process of when they gave you your outfit for the fashion show? When you put it on?
Went in for the fitting, and they were like, this is what we would like you to wear. You can wear a shirt under it or no shirt under it. And I thought no shirt under it looked better.
Do you see yourself as a trendsetter? Because, like, the way I see it, I haven't seen, like, a smoke or a cigar anywhere near football since Tom Landry smoking on the sideline. That night after you guys won the national championship in the infamous photo, you smoking a cigar in the locker room. Since then, I see players on all these teams, certainly like Max Crosby, the Raiders, these guys smoke cigars after they win. Do you consider yourself a trendsetter?
I kind of just do shit that I think is cool and makes me happy. And sometimes it turns out that way, sometimes it doesn't. Wear what I want, do what I want. Just, life's not that serious, you just do stuff that makes you happy and stuff that you enjoy doing with your friends, and sometimes stuff works out for you.
Many people say that 2019 LSU team is the best team in college football. One, do you personally agree with that?
I think we would have been tough to beat, for sure.
Yeah. Even the 03 Michigan.
03 Michigan? I don't know. I've never heard of the 03 Michigan.
That school from the north?
Not 23 Michigan team. I think Bama 22 was probably 14-1, and then Georgia 20.
There's definitely some good ones, but
but you're biased.
what did you say?
I said, y'all beat them all.
Oh yeah. I mean,
You got mad at me? Nah, you know
I think we'll see. I think it'll become clearer as people's NFL careers continue to play out. Like you talk about the 02 Hurricanes, they have all Hall of Famers on there. We haven't had a chance to do all that yet, but
You guys are young.
we're still young, and there's still a lot of guys on that team that are in the league right now and getting paid, getting second contracts, balling, Pro Bowls, all pros. We would have been tough to beat for sure.
Joe, you're confusing, man, because I joke with you about, like, you kind of try to be emotionless, but you're so passionate about so much stuff, and you come out with the chains on, you got the Slim Shady hair now, but then you're just, like, you don't get, like, is it you? Like, is that your persona, or is it something you're fighting? Because you seem like you want to be wild, but I don't know if I can be wild.
Yeah, I feel like I've always expressed myself in different ways than like my actual personality.
What up,
I've always
Jay?
worn interesting clothes or interesting hats. I've always done different stuff with my hair, but my personality is always just like this. So I just have always expressed myself in different ways than other people, I feel like.
Contracts are the difficult part of the NFL. And you've experienced great success playing with Jamar. It's sort of been a hold-in, throughout training camp. Just how important is he to overall team success, but also the connection that you guys share? How important is that to you specifically in the way that you play?
Yeah, it's really important. He's one of the best in the game, and he shows it every Sunday. He's shown it from the second he stepped foot on the field at LSU. There's not a lot of people like him, and the chemistry and relationship that we've developed since our first year. When you're playing with somebody for a long time and you develop that communication that you don't even really have to communicate. You give them a look because you've seen this look before, and you're like, hey, do it. And you're both on the same page. You don't have to signal. You don't have to do anything else. And the efficiency of communication is something that I think is underrated when you're playing with somebody for a long time. And that's what you have to develop with new guys. There's only 40 seconds on the play clock. And when you can change things on the fly quickly, that's something that, you don't get with a lot of people because you don't get to play with a lot of people for that long.
Well, you also Tyler is now in Tennessee. Joe is now in Houston. They were both part of an extremely explosive core of offensive players that you did so well sort of just pushing the ball to, putting in the right positions, and those guys also worked with you well. What is it going to be like to have to replace those dudes, and how have you approached that so far in training camp?
Yeah, those guys aren't easy to replace, but the guys that are stepping in that role, I'm really excited about. 2 of our running backs, 3 of our running backs are going to be really good players. You know, Chase and Zach have really stepped up in the absence of Joe, and they're going to have big years. You can't replace TB with just one guy.
Yeah.
It'll be a committee of guys that are going to go in there and take the place of that production in that role, but we have guys that we feel really confident and they can go in and do that.
With that too, so you're changing pieces, also changing offense. You got the new coordinator now, and the top. You can argue on the top 5 quarterback in this league. You know, we go at it all the time about it. Changing offenses. Is it that hard for somebody that, like you're saying, understand? There's only so many damn post 9s, 7s, cut routes, snag 7s. Like it's the same thing. Like for you to learn a new offense with knowing that you can make every throw. How difficult is that, or how do you make that adjustment?
It's not going to, like, Pitch has been with us since I got in the league, and so our offense is the same. We're just adding some new wrinkles, doing some different things within the structure that we've already built. And so we have some new terms, but nothing crazy. And then, like you said, football is football. There's not a lot of new concepts out there. So once you've seen enough, you know what concept you're thinking of, and you can just translate it at that point.
And then you're not young anymore. Hell, you just hit the ass in the head. Once you make $250 million, you're the man. Like, how much control do you have? I don't say control over the offense, but how much do they look to you? How much do they, say, hey, Joe, what do you like about this? What do you like about that? And try to mold it to what the star quarterback loves.
That's what I've loved about being here. I've felt ownership and input from day one, and I don't think that's normal in this league. All of our coaches played quarterback, know what it takes to play quarterback, and they know that your quarterback has to be really confident in the things that you're doing on the field and the concepts if you want to be successful. And so even when I was a rookie, I felt that I had ownership in what we were doing, and if I ever went out and made a check and I didn't work and I came back on the sideline, I never got cussed out. It was always, why'd you do this? Maybe it was this look, this would have been better. And so I really couldn't have asked for a better situation to come into, providing me with all the weapons we had, organization, making all these changes to this facility, giving me ownership in the offense. It's been great.
Not many quarterbacks can say they're 2-0 versus Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, and 1-1 and also beat him to take your team to the Super Bowl. When it comes to that particular matchup, it reminds me a lot of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Like, if this guy won, his team was going to the Super Bowl, and vice versa. Is there anything extra or different you do in preparation for a matchup with someone like Patrick Mahomes?
No. I'm treating every game the same. I think you have to do that as a quarterback if you want to be consistently successful, and I think that's what separates the great ones from the good ones. Is everybody can go out and have a great week. Can you have 17 really, really good games throughout the season and put together 2 or 3 of those seasons in a row? I think that's what's difficult, because defenses change and evolve from year to year. Your offense changes and evolves from year to year, and how are you going to adapt as a player to go and attack that defense that has changed? I think the number one thing you got to be is adaptable, and that goes from series to series, play to play, game to game, season to season, and that's something that I think about a lot.
I asked someone else that was on our show. I also asked Arcelius, because he's won a Super Bowl, he's lost a Super Bowl. For you, does it suck more to not make it or to make it and lose?
Probably not make it. I would say that loss is, that gets harder as time goes, because right after it happens, 2021, we thought we were going to be good, but we weren't sure. We had the 5th pick the year before, and all of a sudden we start balling at the end of the year. We were 5-4 at the bye, and scratching and clawing for a playoff spot, and then all of a sudden we start balling at the end of the year and find ourselves in the Super Bowl. And obviously we wanted to go out and win that, and it didn't happen. But after that, it was like, oh, we got several more years together. We're gonna get this done, and then a couple years later, it doesn't happen. So then it starts to get harder. But every year is a new year, and we're gonna go attack it.
How often do you think about that late pressure from Aaron Donald? We've all seen the picture.
I don't think about it too much. Yeah, think about it too much.
What are the actual thoughts of that last play?
It was more so the fourth quarter, like all the series of events leading up to it. There were so many things that could have gone our way, didn't go our way, ended up going their way. A call here, a call there, and ball didn't bounce our way that day. Yeah, sometimes it goes like that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of reasons I called you my quarterback. I remember it was training camp 2019. You guys are 7-on-7 indoors. You hit Jamar on the pass. I'm standing next to a Seattle scout, and we look at each other, and I was like, whoa. Next one, you hit Jettas on the seam, and I was like, that's what it's supposed to look like. I go on Matt Moscona that day. I was like, bro, Joe Burrow's going to be crazy this year. I think after the first week, everybody's Trevor Lawrence. I was like, Joe Burrow's going to win the Heisman. And obviously getting an opportunity to watch you play, it's my alma mater. I was just excited that my school had you as a quarterback, but also that team and the excitement around it. But you did something once you got to the league that made me love Joe Burrow, the person. DJ Reader actually mentioned a story you told about an AAU teammate that dealt with some racism when you were younger, and you also immediately in 2020, after George Floyd, just implored people to listen and said that the community needed your help. Can you tell me a little bit about how maybe even that experience in AAU helped you be prepared for a time as such to say, hey, look, the black community needs allies, and we should try to work to be one of them?
Yeah, I remember the story that I told. It was actually after a football game.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was, growing up where I grew up, southeastern Ohio, Appalachia, it's a very underprivileged community. There's not a lot of black folks in that area. And so you see a lot of hate in certain places. That's not easy to see your friend going through something like that. And so that really affected me during that time. And so I've seen it from when I was little. And so when you see it affect somebody like that, I think you kind of have a different perspective on it than the majority of the population, I would say. Because I would say a lot of people haven't seen it and lived it, and that's not an easy thing to go through. And so I always just try to help in any way that I can. It's and I think with the platform that we have, it's not necessarily a responsibility, but I think you're not doing everything that you can for the world and for the people that you care about if you're not helping in some way.
Joe, it's 2020. You have won the Heisman. You're the first overall pick. And there are a lot of people that feel the way that you feel, or may have even experienced it. But it's not a lot of people who would use their platform and risk the backlash that you could have received for that. What made you feel confident enough as a rookie quarterback on a new team to step out and be a voice for other people?
I don't know. I just was talking from the heart. I didn't really think about it like that. I just, it made me emotional. It made me, it hit me hard. And I just said things that I was thinking and feeling at the time. I didn't really think about backlash or should I do this, should I not. I just thought it was something that I was feeling and that should be heard.
And speaking on, I guess, hot button topics, divisive topics or something that, like RC something you don't run away from. Do you even think about the side of the criticism I might get from people about this? Because it seems like you're saying, if I feel it in my heart, I'm gonna say what I feel about a situation, but you are one of the biggest faces, top athletes in the world as well. Do you think about the other side?
You think about it, but if there's one thing that doesn't affect me, it's criticism about who I am as a person. I know who I am. I know what I believe in. So, criticism about my game, that hurts sometimes. But criticism about who I am as a person, what I do, what I wear, that never affects me because I know who I am and I'm confident in who I am and what I'm about.
Does that come from your family? Because you got a strong Borough family.
Yeah,
that
I would say that for sure. Definitely. We're definitely our own people.
Well, Joe, why don't you let your parents come to your house on Saturday before the game while you're there?
That's game time. That's a different. Once Saturday hits, that's a different Joe now, and I love my parents and want to be present with them, but when it's time to get ready for a game, I might not be the most pleasant person to be around, and I don't have a lot of myself to give to anybody else. So I want to go through my process.
What's up, Francisco? What you been on, brother?
I want to be alone with my thoughts and thinking about what I need to think about to go out and succeed on Sundays.
Was that an understanding or a conversation I had to have? Because we all remember, we talked about it, that transition from your son to a grown-ass man who y'all gave birth to, too. Was that a conversation you had to have? Well, Mom, I love you, Dad, I love you, but when I turn into that different Joe, you might not want to be here for that.
Yeah, they understood it, but it was a conversation that needed to happen. But my dad was coach for a long time. He gets it. My mom's been around sports from
I appreciate that, dog.
when I was little. She knows how I am before and after
Yeah.
games. I mean, she was driving
Like Milwaukee?
an hour to AAU practice on a random Wednesday night. So she understands how serious I take things and how emotional I get about things that I care about. So they got it.
Say, brother,
Oh, military
to be honest,
days. I'm
dog,
slow.
This training camp
Goodness.
tour has really let me know it's important about how you find your colleagues, your co-workers, employees,
San
employers.
Antonio,
Before I
Michigan.
got locked up with y'all, I should have went on LinkedIn Jobs and maybe looked for some other folks.
Bro, I ain't gonna
maybe
lie.
not even looking for
You
these
about to get
jobs.
all kinds of
70%
culture
of
shock.
the people on
But
LinkedIn Jobs ain't looking for jobs at the time.
pretty
they
sure you
get
used to
hired,
travel,
'cause This
bro.
ain't working out.
Where have
Man, come on now, you know
excuse me.
LinkedIn works.
Where have you
86%
been,
of
bro?
small businesses
You know what I'm
find
saying?
a qualified employee
What all
in the
places you
first
travel?
24 hours. Y'all know we gotta go on there. I'm going on there. I need me some more jobs. Y'all know I love me a job.
Look, over 2.5 million small businesses are already using LinkedIn. One more won't hurt. LinkedIn
I need to
make
put
the
this shit
hiring
down,
process
bro.
that much easier for you.
And
Who
LinkedIn makes
gone?
it easy.
Who
They even
out
have a
here?
new feature that will help you write your job description. So they're going to help you get a job. They're going to get it for you. Y'all know what LinkedIn is going to do. 86% of small businesses get their qualified employees. And listen, I'm probably going to be on there too because the way that this training camp tour is
West of
going, tired as I
Mississippi.
am, not only of them, but of the whole thing,
Sheesh.
I'm about to get my profile ready. So you can go on linkedin.com/pivotpodcast for free right now and load up your bio.
What's your favorite place you've been so far?
LinkedIn.com/pivotpodcast and look for RC. I'm gonna have a small picture. It ain't gonna be big. We see y'all.
You want to work for me?
No.
Talk legacy.
Also,
It's hard to argue that you're the best quarterback ever in the history of LSU football. I think that's pretty much a staple. When the game's all said and done and you retire in 2040, how do you want to be remembered and what type of impact you hope to leave on the game of
Washington
football
State or
and
Utah?
then this community here in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I hope that.
I heard a lot about
Most
Utah. I
of them
low-key
don't
wanna go over
MVPs,
there one day.
But I just want
Just
my
to look at
teammates
them
to
little
remember me
mountains.
as a good teammate.
but it's like, what's
That's
over there?
what-
Is it like the food or is it the
reason
culture?
that
Like, what
it's
is it?
so easy to come in and work so hard and grind through the season and lift and get up early and come into random Wednesday 7:30 protection meeting is because you love your teammates, you love being around them, you love being around your coaches, you love being around everybody in the facility. That's really why I do what I do, why I work so hard. Obviously for personal success, but because I want to be the best that I can be for the guys in the locker room. And I think being a great teammate is something that I really think about.
We sat down with Anthony Richardson and asked him what advice was shared with him by Peyton Manning. And he said, sometimes you just got to be an asshole.
I feel you.
Their
I feel
leadership
you.
style.
I
Are
got
you that asshole sometimes?
I try not to be. I try to.
Look at 16.
Sometimes I get a little frustrated.
Man,
I
me
try
too.
to
I already know
compose
how that
myself
go.
before I have any conversations. I don't. Maybe I get to that point when I'm a little older. I just try to be close enough with the guys that I need to have the conversations with that
We need a ground
we
again.
can have
Speaking
a productive
of outdoors,
conversation.
man.
One-on-one as teammates and friends.
Ain't
Like,
been
hey, I
outside.
think if you do this,
Just been at work.
you know, you're going to get open and the higher chance that you're going to get the ball against a certain look. I don't think that cussing somebody out is really the best way to go about it. And you have to know your teammates well enough to understand what kind of conversation you need to have with them. Some guys respond better to getting cussed out. Some guys respond better to talking to them right on the field. Some guys respond better to eating lunch with them and bringing up, hey, like, remember that rep from the other day?
Yeah.
And so you have to understand your teammates well enough to know that
Word.
about them.
Speaking of like understanding
It might be a
and knowing
vibe.
your teammates,
I think I tried that one
to
time and got
say
bit up by a bunch of
going
mosquitoes.
from Columbus, Ohio,
Nah.
to Baton Rouge, Louisiana,
I'm gonna
is
carry
a
that
culture
offer
shock.
in the next time
Actually,
next
an
week.
understatement.
I ain't supposed to try that
And
again.
the group of individuals that LSU recruits, when you talk about from the bottom of New Orleans to the top of Shreveport, it's a different human.
Mm-hmm.
What was that adjustment like for you? And also, how has it helped you learn to like ingratiate yourself into a locker room and have some of those conversations you were talking about?
Yeah, I had no idea what the hell everybody was saying for the first, like,
No,
2
so
or 3 months. So I would just be
it
like,
makes no
yeah,
sense.
you know. I had no idea.
They're like, he's so agreeable.
Yeah. So I had to figure out
Dude, they had me loading lumber
dialect
outside
of, like,
one time. It was
Jojo,
morning
obviously
time. It
pretty
was
unique
humid.
dialect, so
Everybody was getting lit up.
that was difficult.
And it made no
at
sense.
the beginning, but I always just try to be myself, and I think guys can pick up on that and appreciate that. And when somebody's like that, then it's pretty easy to assimilate into any culture or locker room that you need to. I would say I learned a lot being at Ohio State and not being a quarterback. If I had started early, I would have felt like I had to be a certain kind of way as the starting quarterback, and I might have changed my mindset a little bit on that, but I was just a guy for 3 years, and so then I was just a guy in the locker room. I was just myself, and realized that people really appreciate that. So that's just what I try to do.
I saw the throw. You rolled to the right. You pushed it down the sideline. In conversations we had, you talked about every new throw, every new angle, every new space you'd be in would be an adjustment from being injured. I saw that throw. I was like, hell, that looks like Joe to me. How confident are you in where you are now and where you'll be starting the season as compared to the Joe Burrow we're used to see play at an all-pro level?
I think I'm better right now. I think mentally I'm faster. I think my body is bigger, faster, stronger this year. My wrist is coming along. When you're coming back from an injury like that, you get so much better every single day, every single rep. You're basically relearning how to move your wrist and throw again, which is always a process that I enjoy and I'm excited about because I love the feeling of getting better. And when you're injured, at the beginning, you're getting so much better so quickly. And then there's a little plateau, a couple months where it's like, I haven't really felt like it's improved much. And then all of a sudden there's another spike in how you're feeling and how much better you're getting. And then this is my first training camp in 2 years. I was limited in 2021, and then 2020 was COVID. So these are reps that I haven't had for the last 3 years, really. And so I just feel myself getting so much better every single day, and that's what I love about the process in football and the grind is when you feel yourself improving, that builds momentum to go back and continue to do it, continue to grind, because you can feel that paying off. And that's what I love.
You were top in high school, won the damn Heisman, get to the league, drafted first round. Through that entire process, the injuries, the transfers, all that, was there any time, because I think top athletes don't speak about it, don't want to admit it, but time where you doubt yourself, or time where you question, where Joe questioned Joe?
Yeah, I mean, at Ohio State, I was definitely questioning myself, because I thought, like, I'm working so hard in the weight room, I'm playing really well in practice, and I felt like nobody was really taking notice of that, or seeing the improvement, or how I was playing in practice. And so I was like, do I have a warped sense of myself,
Right.
and how I'm playing, or what kind of quarterback that I am? So that was definitely tough, those 3.5 years. You know, I had so much confidence in the work that I was putting in off the field and the growth that I was having, but I felt like not a lot of people had confidence in me at that point. And really all I had, like we talked about earlier, was the confidence in myself, and the work that I was putting in would eventually come to light and pay off. And thank God it did.
Yeah.
Joe, we finally got access to the white party. Channing and I couldn't make it because I was busy. Channing was off with his boys doing something. Your relationship with Mike Rubin and Fanatics, is that your one big off-season splurge? You be clean as hell. You be
Tried to.
T. I know RC tried to outdo you this year, but do you really enjoy being in that environment, or is that just kind of like, Rubin's my boy, I'm gonna show up just because?
No, I do enjoy that. You know, Michael, we're good friends, so he's a great person and friend, but I've made a lot of friends through those events, and it also gives me access to talk to people that have been in the position that I've been, and have handled growth and success before, and things that I'm going through currently, changes in life and how to handle that. And so whenever you can be around people that have been there and done that, and ask them questions about how to handle life, how to handle the game, how to handle fame, you know, those are really valuable conversations for me to grow and evolve as a person, I would say.
Imagine me. I wake up Saturday morning. Like, the one thing I asked you, Jamar, Livy, Odell, the freaking photographer at the white party, I said, hey, bro, I don't really care how many pictures you take of me. I just need a picture with all the LSU people, right? So imagine my surprise. I go home like, golly, we, as a collective, never took the LSU picture, because that was my thought, that it never happened. And so when they assembled you all, like the Avengers, we had talked pretty much all night. You never looked around and went, damn, RC ain't here. Because I wake up and I see, why not LSU? And it's Odell and Jamar and Joe and Livy. So I go look at my suitcase and like, damn, did I not go to the white party? I saw the white outfit. So in no time, bro, did you look left or right and realize that I wasn't there?
I was walking by and I got grabbed and pulled into a picture. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Hey, I woke up like, God, I asked for one thing.
You thought Joe was going to talk about Ryan?
Yeah, I did.
Would that have made you the only defensive guy?
In the picture?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that's why.
But bro, so I didn't post my picture till later. Everybody asking me, dang, the boys ain't look for you for the picture? No, I'm asking them now. Clearly they didn't. Joe, man, I know you have to go first off, and thank you so much again, man, for your time. You mentioned some of your goals to Fred, and I understand that those goals are those long-term goals. But when you look at this year, not even from a goal individual standpoint, what do you feel needs to be accomplished within this locker room to really uphold the standard that has been set since you were drafted and some of those pieces were put around you?
The way that I think about day-to-day goals now are just do whatever you need to do to get better that day. And if you do that, you'll reach the mountain goals, like the headline goals that you want to reach. The way that I think about that now is if you just wake up and get better today. And I caught myself the other day in practice. I was like, it's hot. I'm tired. It's a long practice today. It's a Sunday. Everybody else is sleeping. And then I snapped myself out of it. And I was like, wake the fuck up, Joe. It's time to get better. And I don't think a lot of people really take advantage of every rep that they can throughout the day, whether it's individual or 7-on-7 or team. You know, there's each rep throughout the day is unique, and you learn so much from it. All you gotta do is just embrace that and get better every day, and you'll get to where you want to get to.
Yeah, man, I'm forever a fan. I am very salty though about the picture. You know,
Y'all grown men.
huh?
What about that man taking a picture with you? Y'all are grown up.
But it was a group of people that took the picture.
You
you know
weren't
what
a
I'm
part of the group.
But man, I just want to say though, but thank you for your time, bro. I thought it was just good of you and very kind of you to sit with us. Best of luck this season, bro. Cheering for you,
Thanks,
you need
man.
anything.
I got you. Appreciate that.
All right, bro. For sure. Hey, dog, when I woke up, you know, like,
He was really hurt.
I was really hurt. Hey, Sam, because you know, like, as the old dude, like, those things are important. Like, they matter to me. You know what I'm saying?
He was riding around like he
I
said.
can tell about that one.
Hold up, limitless, take a sip of time, penniless. I found it here to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way up in get me up. On a mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless, take a sip of time, penniless. I found it here to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way up in get me up. On a mission, get me up.
There we go, man. Hey, we got a special dance for y'all, man. Fourth down, fan questions of the week. Before we get into it, I must introduce him as a person who I grew fond of the more that we played together. Great teammate, great family man, great community ambassador. This particular individual has taught me so much, and I'll definitely taught his ass. I lied. And one thing that he's learned from me, even to this day, don't fuck with me. Because you're going to fuck around and find out. I don't even want to call this shit pleasure, because it's not pleasurable. Met with the team.
Don't lie to the people, man. Don't lie to the people.
Man, I'm trying to introduce your ass, bro. Like, just sit back,
Don't lie. I
relax.
don't want you
This is my
lying in
show.
the introduction. Don't lie in the introduction. It's all pleasure. No, JC.
Here we go. I do not have a pleasure of introducing this young fella. But some of us have to dye our hair black, and some of us don't because of how old we are, the hot day. But I had the honor of playing with this gentleman for far too long, and I think we have a connection that will far exceed, hopefully, our lives. The Newtons have always dominated the Davises and anybody else. So without further ado, I present to some and introduce to others my former teammate and brother for life, Thomas Eduardo Davis. What's going on with you? How you feeling today?
Man, I'm good. How long have you been dyeing your hair, though? Because I ain't know that. That was
Dye.
me.
Damn, my hair? I don't die. I live.
Already? Oh, that man stumped already.
No.
Like, what is he talking about? You just said that somebody been dyeing their hair.
Okay.
It ain't me.
Y'all better be cutting up all show.
Well, you gotta dye your hair all the time.
No grades. No grades.
This ain't no edit.
It's all God.
And okay, so
all God.
let me tell you. Can I give him a backstory?
You know what?
Hey, go for it. That's
Say
what
less.
you're for.
Okay, so
Here to share stories.
as for the people who sees this rather funny looking gentleman sitting down in the confines of his house, and he says, or you see a shirt that says Dior. Now,
I would like to think myself and my visionary kind of patience to also say I have a large influence in the man that TD is today. When I met TD would always come into the locker room dressed rather unappropriate. When I mean unappropriate, he didn't look like the money that he was making, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it was just... what part of Georgia you say you from? Is it Snellville?
Shell time.
Whatever.
Put some
It's
respect
something.
on it.
Okay. It looked like, you know, when it's a saying where you be like, bro, you country. Like this dude here, he had an infatuation with cars and dogs. That says a lot about, and any person that's described like that, you already know they don't really dress all that well. So for him to have a Christian Dior shirt on, we came a long way, Thomas. Because when I met you, you was wearing a baggy, stretched out tank tops and Jordan shorts and Brogan.
Baggy Jordans.
Yeah. He
Hey,
came
bro.
a long way.
Hey, bro.
Long
Hey,
way.
grow up. What time do we have to be at work, sir? What time do we have to be in the building? Hey, I answer for you. We had to be there damn early. We had to be there early. So I thought about to get up early in the morning and say, hey, let me put on some clothes that's gonna impress Cam. Let me make sure that he think I'm fly. Yeah, exactly. Watch your mouth. Put some respect on it. I'm coming to work comfortable.
Why not?
We got business to do. We got to carry the offense every week. So I got to make sure that what's going on.
Damn.
Don't carry the offense. Don't carry the offense.
You know what time. He knew what time it was.
He trying to slip on them little jabs, but we got to get into the fan question. Thomas. But you know, we got our little section going on in Newton's Law, and this is gonna be fun. Now, is there anything that you got going on right now that you need to know? Because you're retired. What does a typical day in Thomas Davis's life look like?
A typical day, you know, it's usually pertaining to something with my sports bar right now. You know, 1058. We closed for a month for renovations. We got it back up and running. New and improved. The vibe just different in there right now, man. And I love it. The city love it. Still waiting on my brother to come grace the building with his presence. I mean, fellowship first day, I recall your boy was in the building. I'm just saying. Man, they got pictures to prove it.
I ain't even been to Charlotte.
God don't lie. Man, I don't care about that.
I ain't even been to Charlotte.
I wasn't supposed to be in Atlanta. I wasn't supposed to be in Atlanta. But my brother had something going on.
It was a Super Bowl.
So I showed my ass up.
Stop it.
I showed my ass up. Damn the Super Bowl.
You was in Atlanta. You was in Atlanta for the Super Bowl. Stop the cap.
I was there for Cam Newton.
Look, it ain't nothing for me not to get invited places. I ain't even for
Newton. That's why I was in the building. That's it. No other government.
That's cool. But I feel like my whole relationship with my former teammates told on themselves this year. Because I ain't get an invite to, 1058. I ain't definitely get an invite to Christian McCaffrey wedding. I would hate. They say third time's a charm. I'm here.
You and your feelings about what C-Mac did, and you trying to take it out on everybody. It ain't, bro. Come on, bro. Give me a hug, bro.
That's what it is, huh?
It wasn't me, bro. It wasn't my fault. I ain't get invited either.
Come on.
I ain't get no invite either. And I ain't changed my number.
We know why. We know why you ain't get no invite, but for me, I don't necessarily know why I ain't get no. They want to pretty people at the wedding. They want to scare all the.
Yeah. Look, we gotta move on. Look, I want to apologize to all our viewers because this is about to be a crazy show.
Listen, man, you go
TD and Cam.
Bro, Cam, when we circle back, bro, and you get 41, you gonna wish.
What's up?
Good.
You 41?
I am.
Can you do something, brother? 41. Can you hit us with that real
All right. What we got is Set C, all right? It's the 3-month member. Shout out to Set C, man, for being an icon. Everybody show them some love. So they say, do you watch preseason football or does it bore you? So TD up first. Do you watch preseason football or does it bore you?
I'm a huge football fan, so I watch preseason. I'm always looking at the big time rookies, looking to see how these guys perform in an NFL setting, seeing how they're getting acclimated to the NFL game. But I'm always checking in on my Georgia Bulldogs, man, because we usually put a few guys in the draft, and I want to see how they're acclimating as well to the NFL game. So I'm always keeping up with my Bulldogs.
No, I don't. I ain't gonna lie. Because I know it's not a lot of things that's going on in sports right now, and all the excitement kind of goes to, like, overanalyzing a position. You see what I'm saying? And now, week 1 is different than preseason because it didn't count. But it could either be hella fluffy or, over analytical things. For example, I give you one. Devontae Smith, right? Came out of Alabama, first-round draft pick with Philly.
Yeah.
I happened to see that game, and he had the case of the drops, right? All preseason. But everybody knows Devontae Smith is a good receiver. You know what I'm saying? So with him having a lot of drops in the preseason, that was not a accurate, kind of
Depiction of who he is.
yeah, depiction of who he actually was going to be. Another situation where you may have a quarterback that may look good in preseason. That shit don't fucking matter. Because now Thomas or TD, how extravagant is the plays on defense in the preseason typically?
No, it's extremely vanilla. It's extremely vanilla. You don't put everything that you're gonna do into the game plan. You got your basic coverage. You got cover 3. You got cover 2. You might mix in a fire zone, a blitz here or there, but for the most part, you still want to be able to see what the speed of the game looks like with these new guys coming in. You want to be able to see how they make that transition from playing in a college game, from going to a school like Auburn that's pretty sorry, to being able to play for an NFL team. You want to know how these guys transition. If you talk about Devontae still having to drop.
What the fuck?
Jamar Chase. We know how good Jamar Chase was, but he was a guy that could not get it right in the preseason, and I was genuinely concerned about Jamar Chase. But day 1, when he stepped on that field in the regular season, Jamar Chase was Jamar Chase. But he wasn't that in the preseason. But those are the things that, if you're paying attention to the preseason game, that you are able to see those. Those are the things that I'm looking for. How those guys make the transition from college to pro and from preseason to regular season.
But that makes my point, you know what I'm saying, clear. Because you don't really know what you know until it actually starts counting. I look at preseason like a glorified practice. Like, it's almost like a joint practice in front of the crowd, a bigger crowd. The tempo, the pulse, it really is not going to be there, from the offensive side as well as the defensive side. And if anybody who is anybody, it's not so much that they can learn more so than just the understanding of just getting confidence.
Okay.
So, all in all, I wouldn't necessarily go crazy and go ahead.
Yeah, you can say that, but I know you know me, and anytime we touch the field, whether it's preseason, whether it's regular season, whether it was the playoffs, we were the same people. We brought the same energy to the game every single time. We always talked about it before the game. Our message to each other was to be special. It didn't matter. And if you're a true competitor, you don't care if it's the preseason. I remember we had a preseason game against the Patriots. And I was out there trying to make every damn tackle that could be made on the field that day. And they took Luke out the game, and I was still in there, and I was in there trying to make sure that they understood and they felt my presence on that field. And it just goes to show you, me and Tom Brady, we talking back and forth, talking shit to each other like it's a regular season game. Like, that's the kind of level of intensity that I'm looking to see if it's a guy that has that same mentality, that has that same mindset, that has that killer instinct no matter where you are or what time of the year it is. Those are some of the things that you can see in these young players that are out there fighting for their livelihood. So that's one of the things that I'm always paying attention to. And it's just one of those things that just lets me know football is on the way.
Tomato.
Look, we gotta move on, y'all. So next fan question, Johnny. More likely to happen, C.J. Stroud, big sophomore slump, or Bryce Young becoming top 16 QB? Go ahead, Cam.
More likely to happen?
Yeah.
Sophomore slump by C.J. Stroud.
Why so?
With those two options that you gave me, it ain't no lower that Bryce can go. You know what I'm saying? So, if I'm Bryce Young, the only way I can go is up. Now, I can surprise a lot of people by doing that, but if I do what I did last year, or the results are what they are since the previous season, nobody is expecting him, just similar to nobody was expecting much from C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud has thrusted his way into really being one of those guys we have to pay attention to in this league. And I think more than anything, you know, everybody paying attention does kind of create this, I got to do more, when really you just have to do your job. So it's more likely for C.J. Stroud to have a sophomore slump rather than Bryce Young being the top 16. I don't know where the hell he got 16 from, but top 16.
TD, go ahead and chime in. What's your thoughts real quick?
I could definitely say I can see Bryce Young becoming a top 16 QB, the top half of the NFL. 16, you divide 16 into 16. Two halves of the NFL, Cam. It's 32 teams. That's half of it. Did you get that? That's what I got. But I just think that the additions that the Panthers have made this offseason will definitely allow Bryce Young to be who he is as a football player. He's a guy that brought a lot to that Alabama team. People always talk about all the talent that they had around him. You go back to modern day, Bryce Young was a winner. Got to Alabama, got the opportunity to take the field. He was a winner. It didn't matter who they had around him. He made things happen. And that's kind of the mindset that the Panthers took going into that season, thinking that, hey, Bryce can go out and he can get it done. But it's a little different on the NFL. So now they've upgraded the offensive line. They brought in some very, very viable receivers to make sure that he has the opportunity to be successful. And I think the defense is going to be what it is. The defense has been consistent for a very long time in Carolina. But if you look at C.J. Stroud and what they added to that team, you add a guy like Stephon Diggs, and then you add the whole offensive nucleus that they've added to the Houston Texans, and to me, they instantly become a contender for an AFC championship game. If he's able to go out there and play with half the ability that he had last season.
All right, well, we got Cambo. It said, if TD couldn't include himself or Cam in the Panthers Mount Rushmore, who would be the four? Real quick, go ahead, start up.
We can't use TD. Julius Peppers, Steve Smith, Sam Mills, and I would say, Luke Kuechly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, bro, what are you doing?
You got TD. I mean, it took a little too long to say Luke. I'm like, what's up?
I'm like, bro, what? Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going with Julius Peppers, Steve Smith. Absolutely, without a doubt, I'm going with Luke Kuechly and Cam Newton.
But you can't use Cam. So who else you got?
I couldn't use myself. You gotta read the question. I couldn't use myself, or Cam couldn't use himself.
But look, you know what? Here, he's just gonna come over here and take over the
Reading
show.
is fundamental.
He's just a bully, bro.
Reading is fundamental, my boy.
Man, next up, man, we got Trey. What was your least favorite and your favorite part about training camp in South Carolina?
You going first?
TD, go first.
Go ahead, TD.
Man, my least favorite was the heat. My least favorite was how hot it got out there. It seemed like they had the ability to turn the heat up in Spartanburg for some reason. I don't know how it was even possible. I know it gets hot in the South. I'm from Georgia, and it gets hot anyway. But some reason, man, in Spartanburg on some of the days, but it was miserable out there. But I think, just being able to, because of the makeup of Carolina, the Carolina Panthers is North and South Carolina, being in that city and having the ability to bring Panther football to that area, I think that was one of my favorite parts about, being able to go to Spartanburg.
The least, the food selection. Like around. They had some of the best Bojangles could buy. But other than that, it was just that. And my whole thing too is being around people. Like we had some crowds, bro, it was legendary. Walford and how it was set up, it was just like one side, and then they had another side too, but it was just like a predominantly high set. And then it was crazy because playing in the actual stadium, the main stadium, the ambiance of it kind of brought us back to college a little bit. Seeing the fans sliding down the hill with the kids and everybody kind of having this picnic. I haven't been back in a while, so I don't know if it's the same, but there's just a nostalgic kind of thought that I would always, see the fans behind the hedges, and just I always fed into the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like that was just my thing. Like good, bad, or indifferent. Like I knew I just needed to lean into it. And the best thing too, and people think this is disingenuous because you hear, bro. I love competing, and then talking shit. Ooh, motherfucker, you gonna get it today, boy. But now you had some trigger words, like we knew what we couldn't say. You know what I'm saying? But that was just probably the best thing. Like it was a whole multitude of, TD obviously was the spearhead of who I went to talk shit. Luke had a subtle way of talking shit. Charles Johnson, Captain Munderland. Another person who was real subtle with talking shit was like Roman Harper. You see what I'm saying?
You said him before.
Yeah.
He'll be petty.
Yeah, super petty. But, that whole... how can we fucking forget Josh Norman?
Well, speaking of Josh Norman, stay right there. Next question, fan question. Mason Silva says, I want to hear TD's side of Cam versus Norman practice. TD, let us know what's up.
Listen, man. That moment was just, it was crazy. It's literally like it was surreal because, like Cam just talked about, we always went at it in practice. We always kind of, jabbed at each other back and forth.
Boy.
There was never a time when you came to a Carolina Panther practice where you didn't hear myself or this dude going at it. And Coach Rivera used to always welcome that. And, it became a thing where Josh kind of started to find his way and he started to become who he became. And Josh, he's a prideful person. But I told him, man, hey, if you're gonna talk shit and you're gonna get in somebody's face, you better not be getting dangled and hung around by the quarterback, man, because ain't nobody gonna respect you in this league after you allow that to happen, man. Because hey,
that's a big ass quarterback.
That was one of those. I don't give a shit how big he is. I'll sit him on his ass. I told him that he don't want no smoke. But it's just one of those things, man. I think people don't realize that shit brought us closer together as a football team. It didn't divide us because a lot of teams, a situation like that when you have the star MVP quarterback and then you have one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL at that time, like that can become a divide. But what it did, it ultimately brought us closer as a football team, man. So I'm glad that it happened, honestly.
But I'll take you this. I'll take you that.
Knew who to go grab.
Take me through the story.
I tell you, look, you lucky it wasn't you. Cause let me tell you something. They would have been calling your ass 85. Cause I would have flipped that 58 upside down. You hear me? Shit, real talk. But this is the situation. This was before the 2000. It's crazy how it happened because it was before the 2015 season. This was like that training camp leading up into it. All right, the tempo had already been set. I had this challenge in myself that I did not want. Look, TD can't catch. All right, it was Luke who I had to worry about because Luke was one of the dudes that was always. He knew we loved the drive, the seam dead combination, but he would pass the seam off to the safety and fall off to the dead. So this particular practice, it kept showing up on film. And my challenge was I do not want to throw a pick to Luke. I just didn't. That was my challenge. So that practice, and I think a meeting before Coach Shula, we just always talking about effort. Like, hey, listen, no matter good, bad, indifferent, like, listen, we have to show up on film. You're not who you think you are. You are what the film says you are. And I had threw an interception. It was like a tip pass, or it may have been a clean pick by Jado, right? So I'm going, to kind of tap, like we had this thing in practice, like if you do something, boom, just tap his hips, and then boom, whatever. So when I threw the pick, Jado had like stiffed on me, and he's so hard that my face mask kind of like came like down over my face. So I'm like, hold up. And anytime a big play happened in practice, he finished the whole play. He ran the whole field. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, okay, cool, getting the crowd involved. It was one of them type of days, right? It was overcast. I remember it like it was yesterday, So when he scored the touchdown or whatever, that's when I was like, hey, man, stop that shit now. All that shit gonna get your ass whooped. One thing led to another, and then you see the rest was history, But that was just the competitiveness that team embodied. I didn't see Jado. I saw the enemy. And after practice, you know what I'm saying, it was just all love. You feel what I'm saying? Just like the same thing with TD. Those great teams, bro, have this continuity that's hard to kind of mimic. It was in the space table in the diner hall. It was playing Madden. It was playing NCAA. It was playing 2K with the guys who played the game. And then it was just a unity.
Thank you, Ash.
Or even with the pig tournament.
How you been?
It was that competitiveness that
How the school going?
everybody brought something to it in their own way. The way you talk to TD is different than how you talk to K1 Short. The way you talk to K1 Short is completely different than how you talk to Charles Johnson or Julius Peppers or Ryan Khalil and things like that. So, everything really kind of took off. And I remember kind of listening to the radio shows, and it made national news with ESPN, and all of it was negative. But when you look at the greatness, as TD was talking about, of great teams, you know what's expected. And you can't apologize for having that edge. Either you're going to live with it or you're going to die with it. And nobody was above the law. If I was tripping, TD could check that. If TD was tripping, you had Pep, you had Chuck, you had all these people that was going to check that. You know what I'm saying? We did not want to create no distractions because everything that made everybody, the distinct selves, was what made our team great.
Well, that's solid, man. Yeah. Well, we
And
gonna
it's funny that you say that because it was funny that with the banter that we used to have, you know, Coach Rivera would always be like, hey, if we got quiet any day defensively, he would look over and be like, hey, come on, talk that shit. Like, where y'all at? But it was crazy because McDermott used to hate it. He hated it. He could not stand that shit. So I'm like, bro, like, what do I do? Do I keep talking shit to this dude, or do I listen to the head coach? Do I listen to my DC? But at that point, I'm like, man, you know what? Fuck it. We gonna go at it every single day. His ass gonna have to hear me every single day. But what people don't realize, and I don't even know if Cam fully understood or really realized, when you show up every single day at practice and you talking shit to the other side, you got to perform every single day. You got to bring your A game every single day. There's not a single day that you can come out there and feel sorry for yourself because you're going to get embarrassed. You're going to get embarrassed. And if you are truly competitive, you ain't going to let that shit happen to you. And that's what made us the football team that we became, because we would go in it every single day. And it wasn't just about me, or it wasn't just about Cam. The offense knew they had to raise their level to make sure that Cam didn't look bad. The defense knew that they had to raise their level so that I didn't look bad. So every single day, man, we're competing. We're going at it every single day. And when we walked off that field, it was all love. It was all fun. And we talked about, hey, we took that L, I'm going to kick your ass tomorrow. Don't worry about it. I'm coming back. Like, and that was the banter that we had, man. And that's what made us a special team. It was so many days that Cam ass walked off that field sad, and he didn't really want to talk to us anyway, but we pulled him in, bro. Like, come on, bro. You got tomorrow. You going to get another shot at it. But today, we kicked your ass. And that was the reality. And that's what I tell people all the time, man. Like, that's what made that team become what it became, because it was like playing on Sundays every single day. Every single day.
So, just real quick, I'm going to let you get because he just throwing grenades and hiding his hand.
Because we got to still get in the news law.
We got to. But the truth of about it is this. When I talk, I didn't give a damn if it was McDermott who was going to reply. If it was Ron Rivera, I talk shit to everybody. Not a lot of guys on the offensive side was
You knew who was going to reply. You knew who was the talker.
So
The talker was.
when I started talking to TD, then that's when Luke started talking, and then that's when Cap started talking, and then that's when Chuck started talking, and then when they would say anything to the offense, well, nobody else was gonna say something besides me. So sometimes this is the thing that I even have, concerns with players today. A lot of people can't compartmentalize correctly, especially on the field. I had a toxic ability to be able to laugh, giggle, and still stay focused. A lot of people cannot do that. Like when you hear somebody laughing, that means they're not focused. When you hear somebody giggling, they're not. I never really performed well when I was just like mad as hell. Even though when I was like flexing, I wasn't mad. I was just having fun. You see what I'm saying? Now, my ability to talk to TD and talk shit to TD, Coach Rivera would kind of get away from it because it could be distracting. But I was still locked in. That's how I would stay engaged in practice. I wasn't the guy that just be quiet and sit over there in the Gatorade and just drink Gatorade or water. Like, that wasn't me. If I was doing that, I was really mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wouldn't like me. But we had some battles, had a lot of fun. And don't let your pride get in your way, TD. Let's get into it. Here we go. Main segment, we're going to talk to Mr. Davis in regards to a slew of things. I don't even know where to discuss. A lot of things, too, that we have connectivity and continuity with is we both played in the SEC. Obviously, TD is earned all SEC honors, 3-time Pro Bowler, and obviously NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year. Interesting fact about this, Peggy. So I'm gonna tell you something. Do you know the Carolina Panthers is the only team in the NFL that is responsible for having a Walter Camp Man of the Year, an Offensive Player of the Year, a Defensive Player of the Year, and an MVP.
Wow. I did not know that.
The only team. Did you know that, Eduardo?
I did not know that, Jarrell.
Georgia. A lot of folks don't use their real brains there. Yeah, there you go.
Look, let's get into it then,
They
man.
just tear
So,
y'all. They just tear y'all every damn thing.
my question
right
to you-
here, put this down. Write this down. Write this right here.
And it helps. It helps.
So,
So,
until you leave.
one of my favorite stories in regards to TD is a lot of people don't talk about how resilient this guy is. My first year in the league, TD was coming off an ACL injury. The second game of the year, he tore his ACL again. So this is the third ACL, and still came back and had a very illustrious, career for what it's worth, as people know him now. What were some of the defining moments for you, TD, over your career? The games that you kind of think back sometimes and say, "Damn, like that was the one right there." You know what I'm saying? And take us through it.
Just kind of segueing from what you just talked about, Cam. I think, honestly, the Democratic National Convention was in Charlotte. And we went down to Tampa, and we had to stay down there for that week, just to kind of get away from everything that was going on. And that was the first game that we were getting ready to play, which was the start of that season. But it also was the first game and the first opportunity that I would have as a player that had just torn his ACL 3 consecutive years and not really sure about what was going to happen moving forward with that knee. But I knew that I wasn't going to be a starter to start the season, but I knew at some point I was going to regain that starting role. But for me, it was all about being able to take the field and just allow myself mentally to understand and know that I could trust all of the work for those last 2 years that I had put in to make sure that knee was strong. And, everything is a competition, right? Everything is doing whatever you can to maximize the efforts. And for me, it was making a bet with Captain Munlin at the time. Me and Cap were the gunners on the outside on special teams. So the first special teams play of that season was a punt for us. Cam in the offense had stalled, so now we got to take the field. We take the field. I told Cap, I'm going to make the first tackle. So we go down, man, and literally they had Akeem Talib lined up over me as a gunner, and I'm like, you know what? As the corner that was covering the gunner, I'm like, bro, I'm making this fucking tackle. I don't care who they put over here. And sure enough, man, I run down full speed, and like it was literally like a moment of nostalgia. I'm like, I smacked the returner, and instantly, that was the moment that I felt like, I'm like, damn, bro, I'm back. Like, I know this is it. And I didn't even have a time to really compartmentalize what was going on, to really think about what had just happened. So if you watch that play, somebody just sent it to me the other day, and I reposted it. Like, if you watch that play, you'll see me kind of get up and limp off a little bit. Well, I'm so caught up in the moment, in the excitement of what just happened, I didn't even realize that when I hit the dude, his knee hit me right in my damn quad. Like, and I had the deepest quad bruise ever in that moment. And you know those shits are not fun, but it was literally one of those things where the play was so clean. Mr. Richardson, rest in peace, told him, get him off special teams. I don't want to see him out there no more. And it was crazy, bro, because it was like, shit, I'm trying to earn my keys. I don't care where they put me at. I'm getting out here and I'm going to do it. Because we had just re-signed John Beeson to a big contract. James Anderson had a big contract. I took an $8 million pay cut to make sure that I was still there. And we drafted Luke Kuechly. So it was, for me, it was about showing that I belong and really finding my place, man. And I had to work for every single thing that I got that year, man. And we had a phenomenal season. You know, as the story goes, they ended up trading Beeson, putting Luke in the middle, and, you know, me and Luke became what we became.
Yeah. So, I want to talk about the state of the Panthers right now. And it's hard to speak about the state of the Panthers without starting from top to bottom. Simple question. Do you think Dave Tepper knows what he's doing?
I think Dave Tepper has learned a lot. I think that there have been a lot of things that, you know, he's no different than a player coming into the NFL that never had the opportunity to play at the pro level. There are growing pains. There are things that you have to learn and that you have to grow through. And that's what Mr. Tepper is doing right now. I know for a fact, I've sat down and had several conversations with him and Ms. Tepper. And I know that every single thing that he is focused on is making this team a winner. That's it. And I know that wholeheartedly. I know that for a fact. And anybody that thinks anything differently, contrary to that, can kiss my ass. I know for a fact that that's his goal and that's his focus. Nobody is going to sit back and spend all of his money and do all of the things that he's doing with these coaches and trying to make these personnel decisions if they are